Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. INEC says it is ready for Saturday's elections into local councils in the Federal Capital Territory. 33 persons confirmed dead in latest terrorist attack in Arewa local government area of Kebbi State. Son of former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe faces charges of attempted murder. We have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country. Charles Pius and Idong Joseph are standing by in Abuja. Emmanuel Oluboboko joins from Ondo, while Bonganis Ziba joins from South Africa. We've got the details in a moment. We begin with electoral matters. Ahead of the Federal Capital Territory Council elections scheduled for Saturday, 21st February 2026, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it has fine-tuned preparations for the polls. At a briefing for the media and key stakeholders, the Commission's resident electoral commissioner in the FCT, Aminu Kasim Idris, outlined the level of readiness of the electoral body as well as measures put in place to ensure a credible, peaceful and transparent election across the territory. And now joining us for more is News Central's Charles Pius from INEC office in Abuja. Charles, this is the last briefing before the elections. Are there any specific changes to logistics, and how many parties are involved in these elections?
Many thanks, Blessings. We have just 17 parties that are participating in this particular elections that is built for tomorrow. And this stakeholders meeting earlier, as organized by INEC FCT, stated clearly that there have been some deployments. Before then, we've had the FCT administration also actually says that today is a Friday, it's on the easing of workplace environment. The FCT workers are not expected to be at work today in preparation for this particular elections that is built for tomorrow. And even from tonight, 8 p.m. specifically, there would be a restriction of movement across the FCT up until 6 p.m. Tomorrow, of course. And we have the head of department of the voter education here in the INEC office with me to speak largely about the preparedness of the Independent National Electoral Commission for the council elections that is due for tomorrow. His name is Mr. Samuel Bassi. Samuel, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, tell us specifically the level of preparedness that INEC has for this particular elections.
If you are to quantify that, I should say at this level we are 90% ready for the elections, and all the percentage left will be on election day and the post-election activities.
All right. We know that there are numbers of people who have been talking about this particular elections. We have 1.6 million, and in the past elections, we've seen over 25% or so coming up for this particular elections. Do you think that the education level for this particular elections is actually good enough?
Well, it cannot be enough. Actually, I would say it's not good enough, but it cannot be enough. I would say we need to do more sensitization to educate Nigerians of the benefit of participation and encourage them to come out to exercise their voting rights.
Has there been any restrictions for doing this job?
No restriction at all, kind of.
Okay. Okay, so talk us through the voting patterns.
Well, the voting pattern is open secret ballots. Everything about that except the actual thumbprinting for a party of one's choice is secret. The accreditation, the admission into the polling units, the accreditation process, and the actual casting of vote is open. Then at the cubicle, thumbprinting for your preferred party is secret. So it's open secret ballots that the commission is adopting for the elections coming up on Saturday.
There are flashpoints. Buhari is flashpoints. Bangladesh is flashpoints. Are there measures taken by INEC to forestall some of these issues that might crop up?
Yes, of course. We can see the security around me. Over time, we've had engagement with the security agencies led by the police, and they've assured us of adequate security for the elections. So I can assure Nigerian citizens here in the FCT that there will be adequate security during the elections, before the elections.
Okay, so what time are we expecting the results tomorrow?
As soon as the process is concluded, I can only tell you that the voting and polling unit will stop by 2:30. That's when the last person on the queue has cast his votes. When the results will come in, it has to do with the process itself. When the process is concluded, the collation and the return is made.
Okay. So what else are the FCT residents expecting as depending on the last one that we did in 2022? What difference would this actually make?
As the expectation?
The expectations and, of course, the process, because we know that there's a new electoral bill that's just been signed into law, and one would wonder specifically what difference would it make from what we are used to and what we're going to be having tomorrow?
No, in terms of the electoral bill, the electoral law, it has not yet been made law. We are using the extant law for this.
The president just signed it into law, so it's law now. So I'm just wondering whether that would take effect from this particular FCT.
So that one, the INEC headquarters will respond to that. So whatever subsisting law we have, that's what we're going to use for this election.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. We truly appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, blessings. We've just heard from the head of department, voter education, FCT elections, and we are expecting that the elections will go pretty well, as has been speculated. So by tomorrow, of course, you are going to be hearing from us with all of the area councils, 6 of them, the Boari, the Wagwalada, we have Amak, we have Abaji, all of it we're going to be reporting live on this channel. Blessings.
All right, Charles Pice there, live from the INEC office in Abuja, and just like he said, tomorrow we will still be on standby to report live on the elections. From there, we move to legislative matters where the House of Representatives is continuing its engagement with ministries, departments and agencies of government on their 2026 budget proposals. And today, its Committee on Polytechnics and Other Higher Technical Education is set to hold a session to review funding proposals for these institutions across the country. Now, during this session, lawmakers are expected to appraise the institution's 2025 budget performance, scrutinize their proposed expenditure plans, and examine their capital allocations for the coming year. Now let's talk security matters. The Kebbi State Police Command has confirmed that 33 people were killed in an attack in Bui district in Arewa local government area following a deadly armed cattle rustling incident. Now, spokesman of the Kebbi Police Command, Bashir Usman, said this in a statement. Police authorities expressed deep regret over the loss of lives and extended condolences to the bereaved families and the wider Arewa community. The statement added that preliminary investigations indicate that suspected Lakurawa militants entered Bui district to rustle cattle. The attackers are believed to have crossed into the area from Gudu local government area in the neighboring Sokoto state. Residents from Mamunu, Awasaka, Tungan Soho, Makangara, Kanzo, Gorun Naidel and Dan Maiago reportedly mobilized in response to the intrusion, leading to a fatal confrontation with the armed group. Now, troops of Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai have recorded fresh successes in ongoing counterinsurgency operations across Adamawa and Borno State, including the arrest of an alleged drone supplier and the neutralization of an insurgent commander. The developments were disclosed in a statement issued on Friday by Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, Media Information Officer, Headquarters Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai. Now, according to the statement, troops operating with local vigilantes and hunters arrested 64-year-old Dauda Usman Gubula at Madagali Motor Park in Adamawa State over his alleged role in supplying drones to insurgents. Items recovered from the suspects included 2 aerial drones, drone accessories, and 20 solar power banks. Military authorities said the drones were intended to be modified and used in attacks against troops. The ban on illegal mining, night grazing, farm destruction, underage grazing, livestock poisoning, among others, have been reiterated by the commander of Operation Enduring Peace, Major General Folusho Onyilola. Major General Folusho Onyilola, who also doubles as the General Officer commanding 3 Armored Division, identified these acts as major triggers of insecurity in Plateau State. News Central's Chizoba Anyowe tells us more in this report.
These are key stakeholders in Riom and Jos South local government areas of Plateau State. Over the past 20 years, wanton killings and attacks linked to cattle rustling, night and farmland grazing, farm destruction, among others, have been the story on their lips. They are tired of the attacks and seasons of insecurities in their land. Against this backdrop, the need for a secure and peaceful farming season is at the heart of their interaction here with the commander of Operation Enduring Peace and the general officer commanding 3 Armored Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Folusho Oyinlola.
Traditional, religious and community leaders must remain at the forefront of dialogue and mediation between agreed parties. All family and herding communities should also sensitize their members, especially the youth, to consciously avoid actions such as farm destruction, cattle poisoning, or attacks on livestock, which often serve as triggers for violent crises.
The Army Chief reaffirmed the commitment of the military in sustaining the relative peace in the state while harping on the need for a successful farming season. Key stakeholders also lent their voices to the calls for sustained peace at all costs.
With this stakeholders' engagement, we are renewed. Because we are renewed, we are going to build it again. Braver, louder, and together.
So I would like to advise that solutions to problems like the ones we are facing lies with us and not even with security agents.
I want to assure you, we as stakeholders continue to depend on sustaining earlier net. We're making sure that people of the South and the local government witness a peaceful farming season without any fight between farmers and traders.
The GOC also performed a symbolic presentation of fertilizers to both Christian and Fulani farmers as gesture approved by the Chief of Defense Staff, signifying Nigerian military support for a peaceful farming season. In Plateau State, for News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
And let's go back to legislative matters where the House of Representatives is continuing its engagement with ministries, departments and agencies of government on their 2026 budget proposals. And today it's about education, polytechnics and other higher technical education. Idong Joseph is currently on standby to give us more update on the development. Idong, can you give us an update of the budget defense session today? What were the highlights?
Today's budgetary budget defense session is actually focused on budgetary proposals of ministry, departments and institutions under the supervision of the House Committee on higher technical education and polytechnic. And of course, you recall that in December 2025, on the 19th of December, President Bola Tinubu submitted a budget proposal of about over 58 trillion naira to a joint session of the House. And when the Parliament resumed session this year, they started scrutinizing this proposal, which the President had submitted in that joint session. And for the past 3 weeks now, the House of Representatives and the Senate have been engaging with key ministries, departments and agencies who were mentioned in that budget to come and defend, justify the reasons for their proposed spending for the year. And today, the House Committee on on higher technical education and polytechnic is going to have a session with all the institutions under its supervision. Though that session has not started, it's going to start by 2 p.m. today, and this is to ensure that taxpayers' money, which are going to be used for this spending, are justified, and there is no misappropriation of funds in the process of spending this money. So by 2 p.m., this session is going to commence.
All right, Idong Joseph there on the 2026 education sector funding. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break. When we come back, we've got more stories. Just stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now we head to River State House of Assembly, where they have suspended impeachment proceedings against River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Ngozi Udu. Speaker of the House, Martin Amewule, informed members that the withdrawal of the impeachment process followed the intervention of President Bola Tinubu. Amewule told the House all pending litigations filed by the governor, his deputy, and the Assembly have been withdrawn. The House, however, expressed optimism that Governor Fubara and his deputy will henceforth act strictly in line with the Constitution and avoid actions capable of violating its provisions. The decision was announced during plenary early today, shortly after lawmakers rose from a committee of the whole session. And now to discuss more on this, we're joined by a public affairs analyst, Alistair Wilcox. Alistair, thank you for joining us. Now, how do you think the halt in impeachment proceedings will impact the stability and the governance of River State, considering the allegations of gross misconduct against Governor Fubara and his deputy?
Let me thank you for having me. Thank you for having me this hour. And I will always advocate that there should be cautious optimism in the whole affair concerning River State. This is the third time in a row that we're having impeachment, withdrawal, impeachment, withdrawal, impeachment, withdrawal. I mean, by the time you have something going for you 3 times within a space of 3 years, I mean, you should be wary as to the true intention of the people, of the actors involved. So I'm seeing this as a temporary truce. Let me just be cautiously optimistic that we'll not walk through this way again. Unfortunately, the Rivers people have suffered a lot in the hands of the legislators with their paymaster, President Wike, who pulled the strings as far as in fact, the much he wants to pull it. So let's hope that this time around, everybody will behave themselves, the assembly member will behave themselves, and they be their own men and work for the interest of the River State rather than obeying the whims and dictates of one particular man who controls all of them.
So what are the legal implications of the River State Assembly's decision to halt the impeachment process? What precedent does it set for future cases?
Well, they've halted it. They've not well, it's a halt. I mean, based on their language, they use the word halt. They've not said they are totally abrogating anything about impeachment. Yes, impeachment is part of our democratic processes, but it's meant to be used in the right way. It's not because you have a disagreement with the governor and then the next you whip up impeachment clause in the Constitution. If the governor, if you ask him to give you 1 billion and he refuses to give you 1 billion, or he refuses to present a budget that you get 1 billion from, you dust up an impeachment process. It's like making mockery of the entire situation. Right now, they are putting both the judiciary and the people at loggerheads, because each time this thing happens, they all run to the judiciary to start having their own skirmishes and everything. So it's not healthy for our legal system. It's not healthy for our governance system. Impeachment is a provision that is supposed to be used solely when there is the need, absolute need for it. It's not just something used carelessly. You wake up one morning, you say you want to impeach. The next day you say you've withdrawn. The next day you wake up again, you say you want to impeach. And if you look at it, let me also make this clear. The statement of the Speaker does not signify persons who are ready for a true peace. He said that the withdrawal or the suspension or the withholding of the impeachment is contingent upon the fact that the governor does no longer breach the Constitution or the laws of River State. And in the eyes of the legislators, they are the determinant of what a breach constitutes. They are the ones that will wake up and tell you today that the government has breached the law, tomorrow the government has not breached the law. So, and then the Constitution gives them latitude to determine what is gross misconduct. It's not spelled out. So if tomorrow the governor did not greet them, they will consider that as a gross misconduct. If tomorrow the governor said, I'm not ready to play ball on this, they say it was misconduct. So they are still holding on to the fact that the governor should be at their whims and caprices. And so it's nothing, I don't start by saying question of optimism. I don't see any clear path. Now the governor is doing a lot, he has dissolved his cabinet, he has sent a list of commissioners for approval, and all whatnot. So what are they giving on their own part? I think at this point, the rectorate should have changed. I would not expect them to have this kind of discussion on the floor of the House. The rectorate should have changed. Okay, we are all now for peace. No more impeachment. Let us work with the governor harmoniously for the internal. But they are still saying, except the governor stop doing this, stop doing that. Who determines that? And it is within their whims and caprices. So I don't see a lasting peace. I'm just holding on my breath, and I'm sure a lot of people are holding their breath, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerians hold their breath, because tomorrow, when they said, okay, appoint my brother as this chairman, and he says, the governor says no, it will become a gross misconduct, and then they will whip up the impeachment motion again. So Rivers State is a sorry case, and unfortunately, the men and women who are in the House of Assembly are behaving like children. Children that have been teleguided, they're people like toddlers that have been teleguided. And the more you use a weapon that is no longer effective, the more you bastardize that weapon, that when it becomes necessary to use that weapon, it becomes you make a mess of it. You make a mess of the Constitution. You make a mess of the entire processes. So Rivers State, I mean, it's a formidable state. I'm from that state, and I know the quality of men and women from that state. The kind of people who have the House of Assembly today are not the best that Rivers State should have, that should make laws and make governors for Rivers State. And I think coming to the next election, Rivers State should put on their thinking cap and look better and know what they want for their states.
Okay, all right, Lester Wilcox, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on the development.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Woodman. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Now, we're still talking security. The Alagamo of Agamo Obakende Falodun in Akure North Local Government Area, Ondo State, was attacked by suspected bandits in his palace on Wednesday, February 18, 2026. According to the police, who earlier visited the scene alongside tactical teams from the command, promptly mobilized officers in collaboration with local security outfits. Atuluche Security, local hunters and Amotekun operatives also assisted in combing adjoining bushes and surrounding areas in a bid to apprehend the perpetrators. Efforts are ongoing to track down and arrest the fleeing suspects.
Last night, a monarch was attacked, and that culminated into his demise. My colleagues, heads of security agencies here, and myself, that's the police, the military, civil defense, and DSS, we went to the community for the spot assessment. Getting there, we were shown the bush track that the hoodlums followed, where they shot at the monarch before they eventually dragged him somewhere and clubbed him to death. The younger brother to the monarch, to the deceased, and community.
And now, still in Ondo State, government officials have outlined plans for the highly anticipated Ondo State Investment Summit, scheduled for Monday, February 23rd, 2026. The summit is aimed at showcasing the state's economic potential and attracting both domestic and international investors across key sectors, including agriculture, energy, manufacturing, and infrastructure. Right now, News Central's Emmanuel Oluboboko is live in Akure and joins us for updates. Emmanuel, good afternoon to you. What more can you tell us about this development?
All right, good afternoon, Blessing. And right here in Akure, as earlier mentioned about the insecurity issue that happened at one of a village at Akure North, here in Ondo State, where one of their Oba, or the Alagamo of Agamo, was
killed by bandits. He was kidnapped and later killed. They stormed into his home and killed. I was with the police commissioner just yesterday to discuss and to hear his view about their take on what happened and what they intend to do. But according to what he told me, he said they visited alongside with other security personnel, the Navy, the soldiers, Namotekun Corps, and also the DSS to go and check the situation in that locality. And according to them, they said that they were able to see what they could do to get investigations and get their stories running, to be able to get the bandits and also get those for that mayhem, and assuring the citizens that they will actually get to the bottom of the situation. That is why they went to what is actually going on there. And according to the commissioner, that did something just...
Emmanuel, we'll circle back to your apologies. We're struggling to connect with your network at this moment, but we'll definitely come back to talk about the meeting outside of the attack. But it's quite a sad one, what happened. Now, two more stories. Chairman, House Committee on NDDC and member representing Ethiopia Federal Constituency, Iriatake Ibori Swenu, was among party faithful who participated in the APC Ward Congress in Ethiopia West local government area of Delta State. News Central's Austin Azu, who monitored the exercise in the LGA and other parts of the state, reports that the Congress was widely described as peaceful and transparent.
Party faithful arrived early at their respective wards across the 270 political wards in Delta State to participate in the Congress. APC! Across the 3 senatorial districts, Electoral Committee officials and security personnel were also on ground early to oversee accreditation and ensure a smooth process.
That Api Wasami is the agreeable chairman of Ward 2. Those in support say aye. Aye.
In Ethiopia West local government area, Iriatake Ibori Swenu joined other delegates as the option A4 voting method was adopted, were led ward executives under the observation of INEC officials and other relevant authorities. Following the counting, results were announced amid cheers from party supporters. Party officials and observers described the exercise as peaceful and successful across the wards visited.
We just finished conducting the election of Ward 1 Congress, the ESCO list, and as you can see, the place is peaceful. The election was well conducted, and the winners was declared. As you can see in your video, and if you see all the places, you see everywhere the place is peaceful. So we don't have problem in Ward 1, and the various people has been declared as the winner of the ward.
Another beautiful thing that we have experienced here is the peaceful nature and the cooperation that we've had. It's like a one-way thing. You see the battalions, over 700 human beings, up to 800 today here, and having about 600 plus to vote, standing behind each of them, we wanted to ensure that it is not a voice yes or a voice no thing.
The World Congress forms part of the APC's nationwide internal process aimed at strengthening party structures ahead of future elections. In Delta for News Central, Austin Azu.
All right, now you're still live with us on the news. We go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll tell you more about elections and more stories. Just stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now we go back to Ondo State. We had talked earlier about the sad incident that happened, and Emmanuel had given us an update. But Emmanuel is still on standby to talk about the press conference that happened earlier today. Emmanuel, away from the attack now and to the press conference on the Ondo Investment Summit, what were the key highlights announced by the organizers?
Thank you once again. So, as I said earlier, we had the press conference earlier today on the Ondo State Investment Summit 2026, a big one at that, where stakeholders said that this particular summit is a very grand one, whereby they have lots of investors, about 100 of them coming in to play to come and discuss and partner with the Ondo State government. This is one that we take to celebrate the hard work of the governor of the state. And to digress more and also to speak more on this, I have one of the stakeholders here with me. He is the CEO of the Performance and Project Implementation Monitoring Unit, PPINU, in person of Nero Jacobi. Very good person, Mr. President. Yes, and briefly, just give us a breakdown. Right, this summit. What are we expecting from this? We've had lots of other summits in the past, so what makes this a bit different from what stands out? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have a governor in our believes that for the state to make a kind of progress it desires, all the stakeholders outside the state and globally will have to be pulled together. And to achieve that, you must create the opportunity, hence a conference. Not just, this is not a novel thing. If you check places like UAE, conferences take place where they promote finance, they promote infrastructure, all those iconic projects you see on paper. People around the globe were put together to come and subscribe. So a summit like innovators, SMEs, thinkers, small business people, corporations, with a view to building something right here on our soil. And the governor, in his wisdom, has chosen this time of the year when many of these companies are thinking, the investors are thinking where money goes at this time. And it's also an opportunity to showcase what Ondo State is in terms of our people, extremely brilliant people, energetic, productive people who have honesty and diligence. It's also geographically positioned for commerce. We have direct connection. We are bounded by about 6 or 7 states. You can come to Ondo by air. One of those few states we have the longest coastline within this region. So if at what has happened in some other places like Dubai and the UAE generally, people who are winning today, the billionaires, are those who saw the opportunities before they became so obvious. So for those who are still doubting, Ondo is getting ready for a flight. Those who are persuaded in investing today and investing big tomorrow, they need to come to Ondo State. This port is coming on board. Refineries, iconic projects springing up in Ondo State. Ondo State is the new frontier for development, not just for Nigeria, but for the West Africa sub-region.
For the brief, and that's it on the summit here. So we are hoping that by Monday, 23rd of February, we have a bigger, so where we have all the investors come to play. We see what comes in from there, both for the citizens and for the states at large. Back to you in the studio.
From Ondo State, he's given us the brief summary of what has been happening in Ondo State from the sad incident to the summit, where we have also discussed the highlights. Thanks again to Emmanuel for the update. Now, ahead of the Ward and Local Government Congress of the All Progressives Congress in Imo State, Governor Hope Uzodinma has called on members to put aside personal interests and strengthen party unity. The governor made the appeal during a stakeholders meeting in Owerri. Our correspondent, Alex Obunaya, reports.
As preparations intensify for the Ward and Local Government Congresses of the All Progressives Congress in Imo State, Governor Hope Uzodinma is urging party faithfuls to embrace unity and discipline. Addressing stakeholders at a meeting in Owerri, the governor emphasized the need for members to put aside personal ambitions and focus on the collective interest of the party.
APC in Imo State is very, very strong. And I'm very, very happy because you need a strong party to be able to win your election. You are every day growing our party, both in numbers and in enthusiasm. The interest of APC is how Imo State will move forward. The interest of APC is how Imo State will be united, strong in character, civilized in approach, and prosperity as the order of the day.
Two other members of the party commended the governor's stance, describing it as timely and necessary.
He thanked all APC members for their support to him and asked them to continue to have that peaceful mind to be able to drive this Congress so that it will be without rancor. It will be a family affair. It will be peaceful. Everybody will not be chairman. Everybody will not be secretary at the same time. But if your brother has been elected, he should be supported.
Once distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma, the governor of Imo State, is involved, wherever he's concerned, because it's a man who is very detailed in what he wants to do. He has given the directive, which is very instructive for all stakeholders to go home, go to their various wards, that the Congress officers are here, go there and conduct free, fair, and credible, Congress.
The ward and local government congresses are expected to produce party officials at the grassroots level, a critical step in strengthening the APC's internal structure across the state. For now, party leaders say unity remains a key message as members prepare for the exercise. In Imo for News Central, Alex Ubunaya.
Still to come, Robert Mugabe's son faces charges of attempted murder. The details after the break. Stay with us. And to business, Dr. Kofi Nsia-Poku, the president of the Association of Ghana Industries, says recent cedi appreciation is unlikely to prompt immediate price cuts as manufacturers recover from losses during the currency's weaker period. Speaking on Joy News, he noted that Ghana's largely credit-based economy exposes producers to payment delays, making rapid price adjustments risky. And to stories outside the country, the South African police are still searching for a gun that was allegedly used in the shooting of a gardener at the residence of the son of former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe. Bellarmine Mugabe, the youngest son of Zimbabwe's former president, and his co-accused will appear in court on Monday. The pair will face attempted murder charges. News Central's correspondent Mbongani Siziba takes a deeper look into the story.
Once dominated Zimbabwe politics for nearly 4 decades, now it's back again in the headlines, this time linked to troubles in South Africa. Bellarmine Chatunga Mugabe, son of former President Robert Mugabe, spent the night here, the police station behind me, arrested on charges of attempted murder following a shootout at his house in Hyde Park in Johannesburg. Let's start here. This case is raising questions not just about criminal accountability, but also about diplomatic immunity and whether political legacy still carries weight across borders.
If he holds a diplomatic passport and he's a diplomat in terms of Zimbabwe, and that is confirmed through our office at Durko, then it means that he cannot be tried for criminal offences. He's exempted from that. As harsh as it might seem, he's exempted. Some consular officers will have maybe limited responsibility for offences that they commit in another country or in South Africa, for instance, now.
His arrest is not new. The Mugabe family, his elder brother Robert Jr., first arrest in Zimbabwe last year on allegations linked to violent conduct and drug-related cases. He was later fined $300 after admitting to possession of drugs in Zimbabwe. That drew public scrutiny over whether members of politically connected families were treated differently by law. While their mother, former First Lady Grace Mugabe, remains the subject of a 2017 South African arrest warrant related to alleged assault case in South Africa, That incident sparked diplomatic tensions between South Africa and Zimbabwe over the handling of diplomatic immunity at that time. Now, back here at the Bramley police station, officers stand guard over another Mugabe on the other side of town. At his residence, the police continue their search for the firearm believed to have been used in the shooting. The question now is, does this missing piece alter the narrative, twist the plot, or redefine the course of justice?
Obviously, the gun needs to be matched to the bullet that's found in the victim that was shot on the scene, the gardener that was shot. So they need to match to say that this gun fired this bullet. So it becomes critical when you look at the evidence, the evidentiary value that you bring with the evidence to actually show that this was the gun that was used, who's the owner of the gun, where did the gun come? So that becomes part and parcel, but it's not the overall thing that will say if the gun is not found, they cannot be found guilty. Because if you still have witnesses, and especially the person that got shot, to say, but this person shot me, you can still work with that circumstantial evidence to actually get a conviction.
Now, with the son of the former head of state facing legal troubles in South Africa, the focus has quickly shifted to key legal questions. Does immunity apply? And what does the South African laws say? In other words, Mugabe is no longer in office. His family members do not hold official diplomatic posts. This story has ignited headlines overnight, transforming from a local incident into a national spectacle. Social media buzz has surged, giving rise to a legion of online analysts, all dissenting from a case for the family of former Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe, whose name still makes headlines even in his grave. For News Central, Bongani Siziba.
Now, what began as an emotional public outcry quickly became one of the most talked about controversies online. A young woman identified as Mirabel accused a person of rape, sharing a tearful account that triggered outrage, sympathy, and widespread calls for justice. The story spread rapidly across social media, drawing intense public attention and raising concerns about safety, accountability, and how seriously society treats allegations of sexual violence. But as investigations unfolded and conversations continued, conflicting claims emerged. Reports suggested that parts of the story were inconsistent and that the allegations may have been fabricated. Well, the reports were true because Mirabel has attested to the fact that that may not have been the case. She might have been hallucinating. Some Nigerians argue she still needs compassion, though, pointing to possible struggles with mental health and substance abuse. And this is not happening in isolation. Another student recently apologized after falsely accusing a schoolmate, reigniting debate about responsibility, due process, and the consequences of viral accusations. Now, very quickly, each incident forces a difficult question. How do we then protect the real victims while also guarding against misinformation? Because every false claim does not just trend online. It takes us 100 steps backwards. It reshapes public trust, influences future reporting, and ultimately affects the very people who actually need their voices heard and need to come out confidently to talk about it. Well, that's your postscript. Now, before we go, we will be telling you that In the Games will be coming up very shortly. But in the meantime, that's all on the 12th report. For now, send in your eyewitness report because we want to see what you see. The WhatsApp number is on the screen. Also, do also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and of course, live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Masugun.